Hello, everyone, and welcome back for some more Showtimes. And this time, me and Jared are tackling the end of Season 2 of The Mandalorian. Episode 8, aka The Believer?
The Rescue.
I think is what this one... The Rescue, that's what this one's called. What was the Believer one?
I don't know.
Neither do I. So... as far as season endings go, I think season 1 had a stronger finish.
I think season 1 had more of a... Season 1, like, by the end, had a very much more, like, character development episode. Like, the ending of season...
Yes.
But we got that sprinkled out through the entire season this time, where we slowly saw Mando grow as a person.
A little more clunkily, but yeah, I think we definitely got way more character development for Mando. Like you said, overall throughout the season, as compared to season 1, which was basically establishing everything else around Mando, which I think it did a decent enough job doing that. That being said, this episode really grinds my gears because it commits one of the cardinal sins of Star Wars, which we'll get to that when we get to it. But we pick up pretty much exactly where we left off in the previous episode, which was Mando and the group, including Boba Fett, Ming-Na Wen, Cara Dune.
That's it. Yeah, that was all of them.
That's it.
They let Bill Burr go.
They let Bill Burr go. Prep to go storm Moff Gideon's ship.
Yep.
And so they go and they end up taking a Imperial transport hostage. And it turns out it's the scientist from season 1 that was working with Werner Herzog.
See, I think they were purposely going after that guy, but it was never really made clear.
Yeah, it's left a little ambiguous, which I'm kind of okay with. It works in nicely to the ambiguity as to what is and is not happening in the greater Star Wars universe.
I mean, you also get that little, like, tidbit in there from that one guy who basically was like an Imperial purist who was like the radical, and he was like, I was on the Death Star.
Yeah.
We purified the galaxy a little bit when we blew up Alderaan. It's like, holy shit, these guys are batshit crazy. Like,
yeah, it's definitely one of those moments where you get a glimpse into the fact that they're basically the only people left in the Empire are the fanatics who genuinely buy into the naked evil that the Empire truly is.
Yeah, it was basically like they were drinking Palpatine's Kool-Aid hard.
Yeah. But no, they were drinking clone Palpatine's Kool-Aid because real Palpatine was that reversed?
Yeah.
It was clone Palpatine that was. No, never mind. We're not going to get into a sequel trilogy.
No, this is before
that's just going to be a long
trilogy.
Yeah, I know. That's just going to be a long explanation that's going to just hurt my brain more.
Well,
so
I still think we're getting sprinkles of sequel trilogy because it's established in this episode that the scientist from season 1 is not just any normal scientist. He specializes in cloning. So there's been rumors that they're going to throw out the new trilogy, but then not. And with us getting this guy that's trying to come up with like a clone hybrid thing and needing Jedi blood, like I think it's going back to they're either making Snoke or trying to make something like Snoke, and that's why they need Grogu's blood.
Maybe. Does it ever show what happens to that guy after they blow away his 2 cohorts in the shuttle?
So the last scene with him is like right after. So after this scene, they then skip to some random planet where they go into a bar and they see Bo-Katan. They find Bo-Katan, and and I can't remember the character's name, so I'm just going to call her by her wrestler name. They find Bo-Katan and Sasha Banks in there, and Sasha Banks and Boba Fett start throwing down, and
Boba Fett gets his ass kicked.
I have never wanted to see anything more than Cheryl and I were watching this, and I was like, I just hope she throws him Boba Fett in her wrestler move and does the bank statement on him. I was really hoping to see it, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, Star Wars gets a little weird with external fan service, so
maybe
it's for the best.
She didn't do it, but her and Boba Fett got into an argument, and then her friggin' Bo-Katan and her, you're not a real Mandalorian, you're a clone, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah.
And
yeah, there's definitely some clone racism coming off of Bo-Katan there.
I mean, can you blame her?
Would that be clonism?
Wiped out there are only a handful of clones. And I say handful, meaning like 5-ish or
official,
like 5 or 6 that resisted Order 66 that they either started to and they pulled out the little fucking chips in their heads that basically told them to do Order 66. So, I can understand the clone hate, but then again, Boba was an unaltered clone who I think we'll talk a little bit about Boba Fett later because I have some...
Yeah, we'll discuss that here after a bit.
But then they go get Bo-Katan and they're like, we found Moff Gideon and he's in this cruiser, and if you help me come save this kid, you can kill Moff Gideon and have this cruiser, whatever, I don't care. I just want to get the kid back. Yeah. And she's like, okay.
Yeah, Mando is very much in the I don't give a fuck mindset. He's just like, you take the damn cruiser. I don't give a shit. I just want the kid.
And
I want to make sure that the child is safe.
Yeah. And then we jump to the last scene with that doctor guy in it. He's like in handcuffs. I guess they turned him over to the Republic because...
I guess I missed that.
Well, they didn't do it officially in the show, but I'm guessing he was in handcuffs, and he's a high value Imperial cloner, so I'm assuming the Republic would have uses for him. So
one would believe.
So, he basically gives them the lowdown of Moff Gideon's ship and tells them that the Dark Troopers aren't people anymore, they're robots.
Yeah, they've officially moved on to robots. And can you help me figure something out real quick about this?
Okay.
Because, I would have figured try using robots for your super soldiers to begin with, because your stormtroopers suck normally, and so if you're gonna be all we need Uber soldiers to take out the Rebel Alliance, and it's like maybe start with the hunter killer droid thing.
Well, so let's break it down in Star Wars terms though. The droid army sucked ass and lost to a bunch of clones. So then you evolve from clones to stormtroopers because they wanted to stop using clones for reasons. And then so you...
Palpatine no longer... It was Palpatine's racism. He didn't trust the aliens making clones.
So then you
They'll put some of their foreign DNA in it, and I don't like that.
Yeah, but then you skip to the stormtroopers sucking so bad at their job where you eventually evolve back into high-powered specialty droids because obviously people aren't cutting it, and you don't want to use the only thing that was really good in clone troop. By far the best army out of any of the armies was the clone troopers. But then they stopped using clone troopers and went to people because droids suck ass. And then they realized, regular people kind of suck too. So let's use droids again.
Hey,
but
why
apparently
not?
these droids have
seem to work.
the Dark Troopers have their own flaws as they take up major battery. Like it says they can only run for a little while and they overheat. Like because they use such a retarded amount of energy, so they're good for like a burst attack for maybe like it never specifies, but like you can't run a whole campaign army with these things. Like they're like your black ops team that you send in to fuck shit up at the last second when things are looking bad. That's how I took it anyway.
I get it.
But then they leave this planet and they go find the starship and they basically do this ploy where they have Boba Fett shooting at them and they're flying in this thing and request entrance and they send TIE fighters after Boba Fett and they tell him, no, stick clear of the landing pad. And they're like, nope, fuck it, we're coming in, we're under attack. And like that doesn't immediately send up red flags. So they crash the ship in there and then they hop out and just start wiping people out. And then Mando steps out like 2 seconds later because he opted to go by himself like Mando does.
They set up a strategic plan to send in like 2 different waves and like everybody else was going to be the first wave and they would like start wasting everyone.
Mando had 2 jobs.
And then Mando would go find his own. He would disable the Dark Troopers and he would find the child.
Yeah, so we get basically the split scene there where Bo-Katan and all them.
Yeah,
I'm still wondering the logistics of space guns right now because until the Mandalorian,
I have a feeling we are about to say the same thing because I was about to bring this up.
So until the Mandalorian, I have never known laser blasters to need ammo. Have gun jams.
Yes.
Like
that's exactly my problem.
When did this become a thing? Because
okay. I can accept the ammunition limit because like it's a power cell or whatever. I can work with that. It's a limitation to the device.
Yeah.
That I can work past. A jam, however, for those of you out there who do not understand how guns work, when a weapon jams, it means that something has gone wrong in the system in which a piece of ammunition is loaded into the chamber, and the chamber will not become secure.
Yes.
So the gun will not fire. The problem with a laser gun jamming is that it cannot happen because there is no projectile. So I don't know who thought that was a good idea. She could have just said, guns starting to run dry. It's going to need a recharge or something. And like they don't have time. And then she just starts bashing the shit out of everybody with it. That would have been fine.
I mean, unless these guns work like underworld guns where they're like laser bullets, but that still makes no
those
sense.
Were ultraviolet bullets, sir.
Yeah, I know.
They burned vampires from within.
But unless it's something like...
And later werewolves, too.
Unless it's something like that where, like, the lasers are, like, on a heat char, it just doesn't make sense, and she, like, bangs the gun against the ground, like, 4 times in an elevator, and it starts working again.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Mando's over there having to fight off. He gets to the thing and starts shutting the door, but the Dark Troopers were already activated. One manages to slip out, but it goes to show you how tough Beskar Steel is, because this thing is just punching him.
Yeah, Mando starts getting his ass kicked. I'm pretty sure he's got a concussion and brain damage.
Yeah, he was having his face punched in repeatedly and digging into a wall. His armor did not dent. Like, that just goes to show you how tough Beskar is.
That's some good armor there, but yeah, I'm pretty sure he has internal hemorrhaging of the brain.
Maybe.
And that's what leads him to take his helmet off at the end.
Maybe.
Like, it's not because he's actually learned that, hey, maybe being a fanatic isn't the greatest thing and that it's okay to reveal yourself, i.e. your softer side every now and again.
Well,
it's just him loopy and he's hallucinating that he's back with his own people at the end of it all.
So I don't think that's the situation, though, because he manages to destroy this one dark trooper and then suction vacuum the others out, which we think that solves the problem until 15 minutes later.
He uses the Beskar spear to kill one, and it's like, okay, that's cool. And then we know how he's going to fight now.
And then, so we get to Bo-Katan and them clearing out the bridge, and she's like, where the fuck is Moff Gideon? And it's like, okay, we know where Moff Gideon's going to be. Cut back to Mando entering the prison cell. Moff Gideon's there with the Darksaber flipped out, and he, like, you know, Mando tries to reason with him, and he seems like he's going to go for it at first, but of course, classic bad guy like Mando goes to pick up Grogu, and then
he does the Frieza thing then, where he's just like, I'm going to leave now. And best of luck, Mando. And then he's like, psych.
And then we get a. I must say I did enjoy the Moff Gideon Mando fight, especially like.
It was well choreographed. I'm very surprised.
Like the subtlety when the Darksaber is hitting the spear, like, and holding it. You see the thing starting
it starts to heat up and glow.
To heat up, and it's like, well, give it long enough, it may cut through this thing, but he's using it fast enough, and he's able to disarm Moff Gideon. He thinks about killing him, but he doesn't, and he pulls him to the bridge, and then Moff Gideon goes on like this big rant, like, oh, you can't just hand Bo-Katan the Darksaber. She had to defeat me in combat, which means at some point, Moff Gideon just whooped Bo-Katan's ass and took the Darksaber from her, maybe.
Right.
And
that was what I read into it, but you had some insight in this. We talked a little bit before recording this, so please spill some insight.
I never remember. If I'm remembering correctly, Bo-Katan was handed the Darksaber the first time from Sabine Wren, who did not want to rule Mandalore, and Sabine Wren found the Darksaber in like one of Darth Maul's hideouts, because this is just a lightsaber Darth Maul had laying around that he wasn't using because he's all about his double-bladed red lightsabers. It's just Darth Maul took this thing
because they've been so good to him previously.
Darth Maul took this thing from another dude who used to run this troop that Bo-Katan was a part of, that was a radical group that was against other like Mandalorians, and they like weeded their way back into Mandalorian government by like basically they hired a bunch of like gangsters and stuff to go on the planet, and basically said that Bo-Katan's sister, who was actually running the planet at the time, was too soft, and they basically just went around fake saving the day. And then Darth Maul, of course, double-crossed that dude, and it led to him secretly taking over Mandalore. It was a headache and a half, but
it sounds like
he ended up like dipping out and taking the Darksaber with him, and they don't find the Darksaber until like years later in some like cave that Darth Maul is using as a hideout. So, and Sabine Wren was the Mandalorian who found it, and she was like, no, I'm not ruling this. Somebody else take this thing. And she may have given it to somebody else, who then Bo-Katan defeated. It's been a while since I've watched Rebels, but I'm pretty sure like it was just given to Bo-Katan, so there's not all this lore with it that you have to win it in combat. It's like, dude, if it worst comes to worst, they could get into a small tussle and Mando could just throw the fight. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Plus, you're in a room with 5 people, and I'm sure 5 people can shut the fuck up and not tell a secret.
Fairly certain. I mean, who's going to believe a ex-Imperial person who's just going to be like, oh, she didn't actually win it. She was handed victory.
Like,
it's like, man.
Easiest way to solve your problem there, cut Moff Gideon's tongue out. He's still alive. You still get your bounty. Cut the dude's tongue out. And
yeah, that's a little brutal for Star Wars, though.
This is true, but
I'm just saying.
Speaking of brutal, we then have the Dark Troopers fly. While this conversation is happening, the Dark Troopers come back in, and they lock the blast doors, and they think they're in for the fight of their lives, and then, Lord and behold, a single X-wing shows up.
Fortunately, there was a Deus Ex Machina in the area who swooped in to save them.
And you see a hooded, black-robed figure start cutting them down with a green lightsaber, a very familiar green-looking lightsaber. And he cuts all the Dark Troopers down, and then they open the door, and we get a hood lowered, and my hopes and dreams were crushed, and we get a terribly CG'd Mark Hamill face on a
Okay. I will say that the CG is not terrible. It's far from good, but it is head and shoulders above Peter Cushing and Carrie Fisher CG that we got in Rogue One.
So,
I will say this: the CG actually looked like Mark Hamill back in his prime.
Well,
and I'll give him that. It's not lit properly. The face movement doesn't match well, and the figure looks stiff in every movement that doesn't involve not showing them from the face.
Well, also the face of
that
the
looks terrible.
Actor that they put Mark Hamill's face over,
yes,
it's not shaped like Mark Hamill's face was, and it just comes off as very unkind and cold and weird, and that's I don't think Mark Hamill would have a problem with you recasting Luke Skywalker. There have been rumors.
No, I very much doubt that.
There have been rumors on the internet for so long that Sebastian Stan was going to step in and play Luke Skywalker, because apparently there's more plans for Luke Skywalker stuff, and obviously Mark Hamill cannot play the same character he's been playing for 40 years. He cannot play a 35
you say that,
younger Mark Hamill.
Tell that to his Joker career.
Okay, the Joker's one thing, though. A using your physical body, yes,
no, I get what you're saying. He
can play older Luke Skywalker in any movies or stuff they want to do later down the road.
They want to have a movie of him squeezing out alien milk.
But just, he cannot play himself from 35 years ago. This is...
Yeah.
35 years ago, Mark Hamill that's supposed to be there. And it's you can pass the torch. You can let somebody else play this character.
Yeah.
You guys have recast side characters so many times. The Boba Fett's been recast.
No, this is something. This is something that I have a problem with this season in general, with the introduction of Boba Fett back into it, as a prime character, and this as well. The Luke Skywalker thing, more than the Boba Fett thing, it shrinks the universe. It makes it to where everything is still dependent and reliant upon the previous established canon, and everything in the universe has to revolve around said canon.
Well, I mean, I get that you needed, Grogu needed to find a Jedi, and there's only...
It should have been any other.
There's 5 to 10.
It should have been any other
Jedi alive in canon, because I believe there's the guy from the newest Star Wars video game. Apparently, he's canon.
Yep. He's canon.
You have an unsure Ezra Bridger. You have Ahsoka Tano, Luke Skywalker,
right.
And I want to say there's somebody else, but I'm not sure. It's been a while since I've checked my stuff, but there's 5.
You know who I say it should have been?
5 or 6 out there. Who?
I say it should have been Mace Windu.
Mace Windu isn't confirmed alive or dead.
Exactly, and you could have established a whole new set of stuff going on, like Mace Windu's still alive, and he's looking to rally up with people trying to still take down what's left of the Empire, like shadow-wise, and like you get just pissed off Sam Jackson storming through everything. I mean, movies are built around Sam Jackson being pissed off and beating the shit out of people. You could have done 5 minutes of a TV show of this.
Yeah, this is true, but I mean,
it would have given him something more than sit there and look brooding that he did in the prequel trilogy. He would actually be contributing.
Yeah, it either should have been a recast actor or just I would say it couldn't have been Ezra Bridger, and that's because I think they're setting up Ezra Bridger in the Ahsoka Tano stuff because she is looking for Grand Admiral Thrawn, and that's when Ezra Bridger was.
Right.
That's like him and Grand Admiral Thrawn were like lost in space. So it's her trying to find out basically what happened to Ezra Bridger. So I get it not being him. It could have been somebody else, or it could have been a recast Luke Skywalker.
Mace Windu.
If they confirm he's alive, yeah.
That could have been how they confirmed it.
This is true.
It would have been great.
This is true, but then you have to lock Sam Jackson down for TV shows, and I'm not sure if he wants to do TV shows.
Here's the brilliant thing. You get somebody else to be Mace Windu. Specifically, someone who is familiar with working in TV and is a well-respected person of color and is good with science fiction. Want to know who I peg for this? The man who should have been Mace Windu the first goddamn place, Avery Brooks. Captain Benjamin Sisko, a.k.a. the best captain in Star Trek, by the way. That's my plan.
I mean, I could see it. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't know. I just think that it would
I mean, he does
something else needed to happen.
He looks pretty close to Sam Jackson too, so I mean, I could see it. But I don't know. But I mean, we closed.
Long and the short of it, it really didn't need to. It needed to not be Luke Skywalker, in my opinion, as who showed up. It needed to be someone else that they could use to expand the universe.
Yeah, I mean, I understand, but then again, you have a bunch of people going, well, who the fuck is this? Why?
Right.
I mean, they could have also gone another route where, like, Mando fights off the Dark Trooper. Like, they could have had Mando pull out the Darksaber and then the rest of them. They could have taken on a squadron of Dark Troopers. Like, if Luke Skywalker can cut them all down, then like 5 or 6 well-trained people, including 3 Mandalorians, could have done okay. Grogu could have done a few little force pushes here and there. Like, they could have done it, and then you establish Grogu finding a Jedi next season. But I don't know. They write Grogu off for now.
I don't know. I see that. I see that being problematic because then you've got an entire another season of doing basically the exact same thing you did this season.
Well, they could have done it in like episode 1, but anyway, let's not talk about what could have been. Grogu goes with Luke Skywalker after Mando gives him permission and lifts his helmet and has a fond farewell with him, and then for the love of God, they also had to throw R2-D2 in there for 10 seconds, and then we cut, and that's the end of Mando for the season, and then we have the credits roll, and then after the credits, we have Boba Fett, and
we get an after-credit sequence of Boba Fett returning to Tatooine, the place no one likes,
and he's apparently going to rule the Hutts now.
Yeah, apparently the very pale dude that came up and whispered in Jabba's ear all the time
took over.
Was what?
He basically took over.
Yeah, that dude took over. Sorry, I thought you said his name there for a second.
I said he took over.
Yeah,
I said it really fast, so it sounded like a name, I guess. It could be a Star Wars name. Yeah,
it sounded like a Star Wars name.
He took over.
Yeah, he took over. That's the guy's name.
We also have McClunky. We also got McClunky confirmed as a real word.
Yeah, that was what we needed.
And we basically, Boba Fett, well, actually, Ming-Na Wen just kills all of them, minus Boba Fett shoots one guy, and then we cut, and then we get, coming next year, the Book of Boba Fett. So we have another confirmed Star Wars show. So this is also where I was talking about where we'd get to Boba Fett. I've recently, done a little bit of research of my own, and I completely agree with you that the guy who played young Boba Fett should be playing Boba Fett right now.
Yeah, Daniel Logan should be Boba Fett.
Yes,
right now.
And it's nothing against Mr. Morrison. His first name is hard to say.
Timura. Yes, I believe he's New Zealand.
Yeah, he's from New Zealand, the same place Daniel Logan's from. So.
Yeah, see, it all ties together.
So it's nothing against him. He is a fantastic actor. My problem with him is he is about 60. In this timeline, Boba Fett should be early 40s. So you have a guy playing a character that's 20 years younger, and they're just like they're even saying like he was an unaltered clone, and it's nothing against Mr. Morrison. I myself am a chubby individual, but the dude's rocking a dad bod. He is not as fit as he was 20 years ago in the Star Wars movie. And, I definitely could not go play Boba Fett on screen. So I'm not one to talk about body weight or stuff like that. It's just, when you get older, like even people that are in the best of shape start to, get a little bit of a dad bod. Like it happens all the time. Like even...
No, it's okay. We can still have him in there. We just CGI him in.
So the only situation, like if it wasn't Daniel Logan playing, my other solution for this you could have never revealed Boba Fett's face, and you could have just had him do the dub over the voice like they did like they had him do on the DVD re-releases, or like in the video games, or like how they've recast Darth Vader 5 times, but it's always James Earl Jones's voice. They could have just had him come in and do the lines instead of, being unfortunately chubby Boba Fett. And what kind of, once again, no offense to him, but the outfit they have him in looks like, with the Boba Fett armor on, looks like Boba Fett's wearing a dress.
I mean, I'm not adverse to it. I actually kind of like the outfit design. It looks interesting. It looks unlike what everyone else is wearing, and so it gives it a unique feel. And I think that helps.
It looks bulky. I mean, I have a feeling anyway, like in the Boba Fett show, it's going to be like how I'm saying it's going to be a stunt double doing most of it, and him just doing the voice. So it'll maybe
at the very least a body double
look a little bit better. It's just he looks very awkward in it to me, like with like the way the stuff kind of shifts around. And once again, nothing against the guy. It's just
no. I'm sure he's a very nice man.
I mean,
by all intents and purposes, he comes off as fairly affable.
Phenomenal actor. Like did a great job as Aquaman's dad. Like it's just it's just the aging of Boba Fett. It doesn't match up. Like, why is Boba Fett an old man? He is not a rapid age clone. Like, if you wanted to have Morrison come back and play Commander Rex, who is a aged up clone, and Rex is now in his 60s because he was rapidly aged, and then they stopped the aging process to let them be
snap. That's what should have
clones.
happened.
You could have had him come back as Rex, because they have...
Yeah, he should have been Captain Rex instead of Boba Fett, and that way they have a connection to like the other series.
Yeah, they have...
You could have been like,
they've
neat.
retconned Rex into episode 6. Like, apparently Rex was on Endor. Like, they've retconned Rex into the trilogies and stuff, because Rex was...
Excuse me?
Yeah, Rex was one of the few troopers who took his chip out. He disobeyed Order 66. And he was he was an integral character in Star Wars Rebels. He helped with a lot of planning, so much so that they have retconned everything, and Rex was at the Battle of Endor.
What? Wait, are you saying that the old dude that showed up in like the Stormtrooper outfit that's like a mistake? That's who they're saying is Captain Rex?
I'm not sure who it's supposed to be.
Oh, this is some bullshit. I am not down for this anymore.
It's been a long time since I've watched Return of the Jedi. I just know they retconned and said Rex was at the Battle of Endor. I don't think they specifically said who was Rex.
Oh, God, they have. I'm looking at it right now. I hate all of this. God, just... Jared, we need to stop Star Wars.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
we just need to stop
they have
it.
said that was Rex. I see it.
Yep, you saw it too. Yep, it's all there. Oh, God.
Well, I mean, it doesn't...
This is what I mean. It feels... Star Wars doesn't feel big because of stuff like this. You shrink it down and make sure that all things have to tie to very, very small matters. And that was one of the big things that drew me into The Mandalorian to begin with, was it didn't rely on pre-established Star Wars. It stood on its own. It did its own thing, and it pushed as much of the previously established stuff to the side and said, all of that exists, and this is a story in and of itself. And now that they've started bringing more of it in, it starts to feel less like its own thing and more like it once more has to depend on original Star Wars still being there.
I think the next season... Well, I mean, they were doing that when they started bringing, like, other Mandalorians, like... From people, for people who watch the show, they started doing that a little bit in season 1 already. And, like, season 2...
A little bit is fine.
Well, with season 2, they do it... The first big thing was when they brought Bo-Katan in. That was a big thing, relying on Clone Wars and Rebels, and then Ahsoka Tano, once again, Clone Wars and Rebels, and then, like, Luke Skywalker ties it together basically as a whole. Luke Skywalker and Boba Fett tie it together as a whole.
Luke Skywalker and Boba Fett are kind of like the splinters that just stick out most to me for all this. And that's where I kind of feel like you really, really could have gotten away with not doing the way you did.
I mean, I would have been fine with even the... I mean, if you want to bring Boba Fett in, maybe have done it in season 3. But, like let the Cobb Vanth had Boba Fett's armor stew a little bit and not show him at the end of episode 1, knowing that this is eventually going to get there. But they went ahead and jumped the gun and gave a reason to introduce Boba Fett. But then again, they basically had to kind of shoehorn it in so they could be like, Boba Fett show coming next year.
Yeah.
Which, you know, it's business. I understand. Disney's trying to do business because they're...
We need those 15,000 new Star Wars titles.
Well, they have to...
All coming to Disney Plus!
Well, from what I've heard, Disney Plus, because of COVID, Disney Plus had to restructure, or Disney had to restructure with, like, mostly Disney Plus projects are at the forefront of everything now. Like, Disney's hit their subscriber goal for, like, 5 years in, like, 6 months. Like, so they're kind of, like, blasting full speed ahead, but because of the pandemic and everything, they really have, you know, they're putting all their eggs in one basket, and that basket is Disney Plus. Like, TV's on it, like, let's face it, cable's on its last leg, so their Disney Channel shows and original movies are pretty much meh now. Like, TV's on its final leg.
People have been saying that for years, though.
Let's be honest. Like, streaming is pretty much the future. Yeah.
We said that years ago, but it is. But old media is constantly sinking its talons into it and making it more like the more traditional TV series. and structure. That's why we have several different effective networks all vying for your attention.
Well, I mean,
only difference is you now have to pay for those networks to allow you access that you have to try and buy your way into now, rather than just devoting your time to it. You also have to devote your money to it.
Well, let's be honest, though. Like, normally you could argue that you could have all the major streaming services and basically pay as much as you do with the cable company for these different said services. But let's be honest. What do people really do? You have about 5 to 6 people who get together and they're like, hey, I got this. I'll trade you my password for your password for this. And you have basically one friend that has the Netflix, one that has the Hulu, one that has the HBO Max, one that has Amazon Prime, and whatever other, those are like your big 4. And then whatever other streaming services and stuff, and they share their passwords. So in the long run, you're still saving money, and you have more access. The only other really things like that are like your individual networks that have network shows, and eventually you figure they'll fold into one of these apps anyway. Like CBS has Star Trek Discovery, but CBS is gonna eventually fold into Hulu, because Star Trek Discovery by itself, unfortunately, is not enough to keep the paid CBS app going. Right. I'm just gonna say it. And you had your DC app. It tried so hard for so long, and it ended up folding into HBO Max. So,
hey, don't you know, that's going to launch so big when the Schneider cut happens.
Okay, no, HBO Max is going to be a big deal because, HBO Max already kind of is a big deal, but it's an even bigger deal because Warner is releasing all their movies on HBO Max next year for a month, exclusively on HBO Max. So you basically get the runtime that your movies are going to have in the theaters. They're also going to have HBO Max, and this is pretty much going to kill movie theaters.
It's definitely going to be a big hit into the coffin. Yeah,
COVID-19 was the death blow. It was a life-ending wound, and movie theaters, unfortunately, are now on life support.
Yeah, and it's not pretty.
No, it's not. And I mean, I love the experience of the movie theater. I worked at a movie theater. People know this. I worked at a movie theater. I loved working at a movie theater. I ended up leaving because there was some monotonous stuff going on with management and stuff like that. I don't want to get into it, but I thoroughly enjoyed that job. I enjoyed the theater and the experience of the theater. You and I saw so many movies in the theater because we enjoy the theater experience.
This is true.
But it's, you can't get that at home on a television. But then again, you have people who have children and, stuff like that. So in times like this, would I love to go to a movie theater and watch a movie? Yes. Is that realistic? No. I have a 9-month-old, and there is a virus that is killing young children and older adults out there in the world. So, I mean, I can't go to a movie theater and take that risk. So, yes, I will stay home and watch HBO Max on my 55-inch TV. Is it the same? No. But, it's what suits me best.
Yeah. No, I get you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We kind of got off on a tangent.
No,
That's my bad.
It's fine. It's fine. That's basically all that we have to say about The Mandalorian and kind of the hopes and fears as to what is going forward with Disney Plus and Star Wars in general.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it can be argued that television that streaming services as much as cable TV, but like I said, then again, you have everybody sharing their passwords. The only real one that's kind of a pain in the ass is Amazon Prime, and that's because they give you some movies and they're like, oh, you have to rent these others, and then that's just because deals with Amazon Prime are funny.
Yeah.
Like, Amazon Prime is its whole weird thing by itself. Like, I found certain movies you can watch like the first 4 of them, but then you have to buy the 5th and 6th on Amazon Prime.
It's weird.
Which makes no sense, but
oh well. But that's where we're at for Star Wars.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, all the Star Wars stuff. I mean, I called a lot. There was a lot I was wrong about with my guesses this season.
I think you got the overall.
I was right about.
I think you got the overall majority of it, which is impressive considering all the things that happened in this. And I have to take a lot of the praise back that I gave it, because I was initially like, it's not super great, but it's standing on its own. It's doing something beyond what the traditional Star Wars is, and now traditional Star Wars just came and plopped its fat ass right down in the middle of everybody else's toy box.
Well, so here's what I think, though. I think season 3, with them officially like taking Grogu out for a little bit, like Grogu is gonna end up with like his own show or like a buddy cop comedy with Luke Skywalker.
They're gonna have like cop and a half.
That's my guess. Like they'll age him up, and it'll be a few years, and maybe they can bring older Mark Hamill in, like before Kylo Ren fucked up the temple, and it'll be like Grogu and Luke Skywalker hanging out, saving the galaxy, whatever. But I think season 3 of the Mandalorian is going to be Mando. It's either going to be Mando versus Bo-Katan like the entire season, because she wants the Darksaber and won't let him just hand it to her, or it's going to be her trying to basically manipulate Mando and like present him as this great true Mandalorian leader, and it's going to be Mando dealing with a lot of shit he did not want in the first place. He just wants to be a bounty hunter that ended. He's a normal, like, average Joe bounty hunter that ended up in this extraordinary situation because he had half a soul and didn't want to sell a kid to the Empire. Like, that's Mando in a nutshell. He's a normal, average bounty hunter in Star Wars, as normal in Star Wars as you can.
One might say he's just a man trying to make his way in the universe. Pretty
much, and like, he definitely is not one to want responsibility.
No, he doesn't.
So, like, it's either going to be him, like Bo-Katan trying to manipulate him and force him into this responsibility, or it is going to be him trying to figure out, after all this, how to just get back to being himself. Like,
right.
Like, is he still going to be on the run from what's left of the Empire because he took out a major Imperial general? Are other Mandalorians going to come after him for the Darksaber because Bo-Katan's stupid and won't take it? Will Bo-Katan swallow her pride and just take the stupid sword? We'll find out.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see. And I guess that's where we're going to end it for today. Do you guys have any theories or ideas of what might happen? Leave them down in the comments section. And if you like what you saw or listened to here, not much to see. This is audio only podcast because reasons that I have, mostly regarding YouTube's over-reliance on letting people just copyright claim a whole bunch of stuff because there's visuals that match up. And there's only so much.
Oh, you've been hit with those too.
No, I haven't. I saw that happening a lot, and I was just like, you know what? If I ever do a talk show about movies and TV shows, I think I'll just do audio only. That might be just for the best. And that's...
So, remember when... We can talk about this after.
Yeah, we can discuss what happened with some of your channel later. But for right now, we've been rambling for nearly an hour on this. Before editing magic kicks in. So we're going to go ahead and leave this here. Thank you all for coming with us on this journey. If you like what you heard, then please give us a subscription If you, or at the very least, a like, a share, something. Until next.
Hit that notification bell so you can see when Sean puts out more videos.
Hit that little notification bell. Hit it like it's an abusive
check out
spouse
some other videos,
striking out.
And hit one of those other videos. I'm sure Sean's gonna pop in at the end. Check one of those out.
Probably something will be up for you. Until then, we'll see you next time, everybody.
We'll probably see you next year. So until then, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to all.